Hello, Dimitri's here. Unsolicited advice and uninvited feedback. I want to share something I experienced growing up fairly often. Imagine you are having a conversation with someone about something, just a regular conversation. All of a sudden, that person thinks you pronounced the word incorrectly. So they just interrupt you to teach you proper pronunciation, in their opinion, of course. How would you like that? What would you do in that situation? And by the way, those self-anointed language experts and language police are usually wrong, because if you ask real linguists, not the amateur types, they will tell you that in many, if not most cases, there are just variations in pronunciation due to regional dialects or maybe equally acceptable personal preferences. But that's beside the point. What matters is that nobody asked them to give their opinion, let alone provide a correction. Why would they do such a thing? I'd say aggression and self-aggrandizement. In any case, when people do such things to you, it's not for your benefit, it's for theirs. Ultimately, it's about power. Watch my last week's video about big egos and the need they have to be right and to feel superior to others. So we continue. You're welcome to subscribe and share if you like this video, or if you don't like it, still share it. And then you can subscribe to YouTube, to Facebook, or on Dmitry the Coach website for the newsletter. Now, let me give you a few more examples. I was told that there is a certain type of classical music concert goer. They show up with a music score in their hands. And by the way, that music score has to be issued only by a certain publisher. They sit in the front row, diligently follow the score, just waiting for the performance to make a mistake or some other deviation from the score, so they can proudly catch him. Those people are not professionals. Nobody hired them to find mistakes. They are not there to enjoy music the way most people do. And then sometimes they harass the musicians afterwards with their unsolicited feedback, or perhaps sometimes they keep it to themselves and just find the pride and satisfaction in their ability to find flaws. Well, a couple more stories about unsought advice. One person, as soon as she found out I went into coaching, gave me a whole lecture on what I should do instead. Because in her opinion, otherwise all my prior schooling and training would go to waste. So she said, if I were you, etc., etc., well, she'll never be me and I'll never be her. Another one told me right away that I should change the name of my company from Dmitry the Coach to something else that would involve the word coaching. Oh, she doesn't like it. Well, too bad. Do you think you asked her for her advice on how to name my company? And if somebody makes an attempt to sugarcoat it with, oh, it's just my view, oh, that's me, others may have a different opinion, that changes nothing. Their opinion is still unsolicited. Now, how do you like receiving uninvited feedback? How do you think you should take it? Or any feedback for that matter? Are you buying into all those mantras that constructive criticism is somehow good for you and will help you grow, and that you shouldn't take it personally, that you should have a thicker skin, and that your reaction to criticism should somehow be appropriate. Well, if you come from the corporate world, they may even rate you on how you take criticism and feedback during your quarterly evaluation. Of course, they want you to beat yourself into submission with a big smile on your face, thanking your boss for the valuable lesson, to conform and surrender to their vision of you, a cog in their wheel. So they cut you down to size. Taking a beating like that is peddled as a virtue. But what if you followed your gut? Let your gut feeling be the litmus test. Does the feedback make you feel more or less powerful? Think before you rationalize away. Now, what if you did ask for feedback? Sort of. Let's consider a different scenario. What if you did invite a response of some sort by sharing something about you or what you've done? Have you ever shared something that you created or accomplished with someone and received uninvited critique and constructive criticism, even if it wasn't your goal? Perhaps you just wanted to celebrate your accomplishment, or maybe you just wanted to brag a bit. Instead, you got the critique you never asked for. Back to the gut feeling. How did that feel? Did you feel your accomplishment just got diminished? Something you were excited about just a minute ago, and now it feels like it's not such a big deal? Did your tires go flat? Your wings clip? Was your energy drained all of a sudden by some kind of an invisible force? Think again, it's about them, not you. A power trip on your dime. Still not convinced it's a power trip? Okay. What if you asked for advice? Let me share an observation. If you ever notice something similar, yeah, let me know in the comments. Let's say you directly ask for someone's opinion, again, about something you've accomplished. Some people will say something positive, honestly or not, doesn't matter, and they just stop there. Some will say something positive and will also criticize, maybe because they truly see pluses and minuses, or maybe because it's their idea of a balanced review. However, sometimes you run into those who just perk up at the opportunity and go overboard with their advice and critique, as if they want to completely take over your life, and especially your project. You can see a surge of energy in them. They will feel now they have the power and control, and you have less power. You may even regret you ever asked them. You may think they're doing it out of their genuine concern for you. Okay, then consider this. How often do your friends and family get upset when you don't follow their advice? If you say never, you're lucky, or maybe just oblivious. Most of us can think of a few examples of receiving advice and then people who give that advice becoming emotionally attached to it and getting upset when it's not followed, because it's about them, their need for power. Now, now that we've considered the experience of being on the receiving end of the unsought advice and uninvited feedback, let me ask you for a bit of self reflection. Are you ever guilty of the same transgression? Or at least, do you ever feel too attached to your own opinion and advice? What motivates you? For example, you're watching this video right now. What reactions are you having? Perhaps you agree or disagree with what I'm saying. You may like or dislike the way I speak, what I wear, what pictures I show. Or perhaps you don't care, and it's totally fine. Then think of something else you did care for in the past and had the urge to offer feedback. What was the reason? Here is food for thought. This video, like other videos, is just one of many billion videos out there. And the opinion expressed here is one of millions of opinions. It's simply there, like a tree in the forest. Do you walk up to a tree and start giving advice that, in your opinion, the tree chose the wrong spot? And if you were that tree, if you were in its shoes, you would move over there because there is more sun. Would you agree that that advice would be useless because the tree won't move? And then you'll come home very tired and even exhausted, and not in a pleasant way. And with that, let me share my opinion. Maybe you'll find it shocking. I would say that all advice is useless, or at least most of it. So let me clarify what I mean by advice. When someone is telling you what you should do, that's advice. Perhaps it's not a perfect dictionary definition, but I'll use it in that sense that I want to draw a line between advice and information sharing. Someone may recommend a certain path because it worked for them in the past. There is no guarantee it'll work for you the same way. Or maybe you'll choose a different course of action and will not reach your original goal, but you'll gain valuable insights and experience. And you'll realize you needed that experience more than following the advice and achieving your original goal. Nobody knows the future, and nobody truly knows you and what's good for you. Ultimately, it's your decision, your choice of goals, and your way of reaching them. So trust your intuition. Ultimately, you are creating your own unique path. What if you're training to perform a specific task? Perhaps with such a narrow focus, you'll just learn to do things the way you are taught because it's the most effective way. There is nothing wrong with learning from the experience of others. Keep in mind, though, that one dance teacher said once, every new step started as someone's mistake. Now, what about medical and legal advice? Well, doctors and lawyers are just consultants. They share their knowledge and experience. They'll tell you if you do or don't do A, then the most likely outcome will be B. The decision what action to take or not to take is ultimately yours. If you let go of the wheel, sooner or later you'll come to regret it. Do you see yourself as a baby in diapers looking for a parent figure to make all the decisions for you? I didn't think so. And speaking of parents, asking your doctor, what would you do if you were treating your own mother? May be emotionally gratifying, but ultimately unhelpful. So, what's the conclusion? Those who force feed others with their unsought advice, unsolicited feedback, and uninvited opinions are doing that for their own benefit, no matter how they serve it. Even if they convince themselves they are doing it out of true concern for your well-being, they're still doing it to feel good about themselves and because it fits their self-image. Their unsought advice is based on their own vision of you that can't match reality, because only you know who you are and what's right for you. And that goes both ways. So the next time you feel the urge to give your uninvited opinion, why not ask yourself, what do you get out of that? And how attached you will be to your advice, and how strongly you'll feel when it is followed or when it's not followed. And when someone is asking for your opinion, does it always mean they want to hear your deep intellectual analysis? Could they just be looking for approval, support, cheerleading? Perhaps they just want to feel good. Could it be a good time to use your EQ rather than your IQ? You tell me. So, and with that, like this video, like and subscribe and share it. Share it on Facebook or YouTube. Forward it to your friends. And thank you for listening. I'll see you next week.